Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody.
Greetings from North Carolina.
Yeah, we're Rhodes Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the move again. Right now we're in the Greenville area. Greenville, North Carolina, and
Michelle will eventually learn. She'll travel enough to know the folks in the east and the south call it Greenville or Knoxville. It's Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days I will, or I won't. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. Lots of travel. We've got a bit more in the next couple of days too. So I think that when we broadcast on Wednesday, where will we be on Wednesday? Oh, we'll probably be in
South Carolina
on Wednesday. So
good morning, Bill Elizondo. Good morning,
everybody.
Facebook user in Pennsylvania. I'm guessing Emily.
Good morning, Emily too. Good morning.
Either way, good morning, Emily. Good morning, Tommy in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, one of the two.
By the way,
more. I love that, we get more and more people that listen all the time.
A quick update from the sporting world. I saw on the news this morning that you and I apparently brought good luck to the Philadelphia area as we passed through, because the Phillies made the World Series last night.
Oh, wow. So you're really welcome.
Yeah, to match up with Hugo Sanchez and the Houston Astros.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Yeah, I'm not a sports person, so I'm just being nice.
Yeah, I follow. Go Stros, he says.
So really coming off of a really busy week, and just super grateful for everything that we were able to get accomplished last week. And this week is going to be pretty much so the same kind of busy. Yeah, lots of moving about. We have just so y'all know, we are heading to Arizona this weekend for the Arizona Finance Conference, and I can throw something up on the screen too, so people know where to go find it.
Yeah, so we got the conference coming up this weekend. It starts on Friday evening with some activities and mostly venues for the local dealers, I think, and then the sessions start on Saturday, and you and I will speak twice on Sunday.
Yeah,
once on business planning and the other on sources of capital.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yep. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then like a week and a half later is the Super Forum in Austin. We will be there as well for that. And just so you all know, that we are planning on broadcasting our address live on both of those events. So we'll be there and we'll be broadcasting. So those of you who aren't able to make it will be able to at least catch a little bit of what's
twice this coming Sunday.
Absolutely.
Right.
We kind of wanted to get through some announcements early on today, because we've got a topic that we want to kind of be able to dive into. So there's one more thing. Safeguards rule, guys. Safeguards rules. It is on the 9th. I think it's the 9th of December is when the feds, the ones that, they're like the law of the land, have set this date as when you need to have your safeguards training done for your dealership, for your business, because this goes far beyond just buy here, pay here. This is anyone that's in finance that takes like critical private information, that we need to make sure that we have our team and as well as have one person that is the person for safeguard training. So great place to go to get that is Texas has put together a program that is good nationwide. So whatever state you're in right now, the program that Texas put together is good for you. The federal government's gonna be like, yes. And it is, you can get to it at texasdealereducation.com. So really reasonably priced. You can do it at your own pace, all the stuff. So yeah.
Very good. And I might also get a mention in there about for the Super Forum, for those who have not yet registered, you still have time to catch a flight and get yourself in there for the super forum, and you can use morning 150 to get $150 discount off registration. I think they're still able
Maybe,
to
I don't
honor
know.
that. So
I'm not sure if they're still, if
try
that's
it. Try
still
it.
available, but if you haven't, if you're going to be there, one of the things that they're offering at the super forum is actually safeguards training.
Right.
So so you can do that while you're there as
See
well.
Bill Elizondo there.
Right on. Yeah, we'll see lots of familiar and friendly faces. Okay.
Yeah.
You ready?
Off to our topic, sure. Yeah, so we kind of took on a big topic, and I know that last night on Facebook when the thread went out that we were tackling the subject about kind of the lens that some dealers view their customers through. It's like thinking about how do you think about your customers if you're a buy here pay here dealer or a manager, somebody
Mhm.
working with customers on a daily basis in the buy here pay here space. How do you really think about the customer that you serve, the customer segment, these folks in your community? What do we think about them? And so, as we go through the subject, anybody, even if you're a vendor serving this space, you might just think about who is this end consumer?
Mhm.
And so we think about that, and I used the in quotations on the title "these people" because I was reminded of a situation with a client I was working with some years ago, and this was somebody who came from the used car business
Mhm.
and was used to doing independent and used to sending some deals out for indirect financing or whatever. And when they started stepping into buy here, pay here, and I was coaching them up, the dealer kept referring to the customers as these people, these people.
Mhm.
And I stopped them and I challenged them. I said, can we think about replacing the phrasing these people with our customers?
Yeah.
And the dealer paused for a little bit. And I can tell you for the remainder of my visit the next day,
Mhm.
the dealer caught themselves and replaced the phrasing, but you could tell it was pretty deeply ingrained. This was a person, the dealer was coming from a
Mhm.
place of good credit, was having a hard time understanding and relating to a customer with poor credit and who was, in that place in life because they just couldn't really relate. And I think this is a problem for us, in this industry. We see a lot of dealers who are, sort of treating customers as though they're in some other group. There's some other
It's kind
class
of
of
like
people.
us and them.
Right.
Us and them.
Right.
Us and them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's some other group of human beings or some,
Mhm.
some misfit group or whatever, however we might want to characterize that. But I remember the conference, I think it was NIADA last year in San Antonio, when I asked our attendees, really just phrased it. I said, you don't have to raise your hands. Like you don't have to out yourself in the room, but everybody in this room who's a dealer or a manager, you either care about your customers or you don't. It's that simple. I
Yeah.
mean, and even if I'm a vendor listening in or I'm some other associate with the industry, it's like, look, we either care about the folks in our community, our neighbors, and these folks who
Mhm.
happen to be dealing with a different situation in life than we are. They're either the same as us and we care about them
Uh-huh.
or they're not.
Or
Like
they're
it's not
not.
a hard thing to
Uh,
it's a clear line in my mind.
And the reason why this topic came up, Jim and I last night, those of you who know us know we talk buy here, pay here probably 90% of the time.
In this case, we're talking human
We're
beings. Yeah.
talking, yeah, but we were just kind of talking human beings, and we were thinking about our experience. We've been, those of you who know us, we've been on the road all over the US
Right.
in the last few years, and that one of the things that well, I come from some service industry.
Sure.
I when I was younger, and I worked as a waitress, and my dad, oh man,
hmm
my dad owned a janitorial company, and so, like, I was a janitor. I grew
Right.
up as a janitor.
hmm
We cleaned movie theaters, and that was like from the time I was 8 until I actually worked for him. I was a supervisor and all of that, well into my 20s. Um, and really understood the service industry, and understood that that when you start talking about us and them, all of that, it's I just know from a place in my heart, when I am out and about and I'm meeting people, and I'm and Jim and I are out moving about, that we always use people's names.
Mm-hmm.
We always look them in the eye, even when we're just passing in a hallway. I mean,
Right.
it's just, you look at them in the eye, you say hello, you look at them pleasantly. I mean, nowadays it's, you might get people really shocked, or you watch them light up because they've been seen. And we were kind of thinking about, we don't watch the news. Those of you who know us too know that back home in Clearwater, we I can't say we don't have a TV. We don't have a TV that works. So
And we haven't missed it.
And we haven't missed it. We don't really watch the news. The only time we ever catch the news is like when we're at a hotel, or at family's house or whatever, and we're catching a little bit, and people, the attitude is like, it's such an awful place, and the world is such an awful place. People aren't kind. That people are lazy.
The world's going to hell.
The world's going to hell. That people feel entitled. That I mean, just all of these descriptors that are not positive. And and Jim and I were kind of talking about last night about how often have we heard from dealers or dealers teams when they refer to their customer, for our customer, as lazy, as entitled, as just whatever. All of these things that are, we hear it just about everywhere that we go. And we, it's like, for us, it's like, okay, we deal with people in the service industry every single day. We see them as our neighbors, because we both view them as, it's like, I've been there. We view them as our neighbors. And so never once have I looked at those people, criminy. I looked at the people in the service industry, those that are helping us, as lazy, as whatever. And they're working hard, and they're doing the stuff, and they're supporting their families. They're doing the things. They're doing all of the things. And then we thought to ourselves, who are our customers? It's all those people.
Sure. It's all of them.
It's the person that's waiting on you. We actually we talked to someone in Spartanburg. I think it was Roanoke. We were talking to a server, and she asked, like, what do you guys do? Because we were engaging with her, and she lit up, and she's like, you guys are my favorite. And she asked what we do, and we said we counsel or coach buy here, pay here dealers. She goes, oh, my car is a buy here, pay here car. And we see this all over the place. And, we engage, and they're like working hard, and that our customers, these are our customers. And we thought to ourselves, why are we using words that are not complimentary to our customer? And then we after kind of discussing, it's like, this is just, it's not accurate. Then we kind of went into, I want all of y'all that are buy here, pay here dealers to think about your portfolio. And this is a question we ask a lot of dealers when we go in and talk to them. And especially when we're bringing new people into buy here, pay here, and we kind of talk about the personas of our customer. And the first thing, we talk about, that there's usually 3 or 4 different categories that our customers are in. And usually it's when you think about your portfolio right now, if you've got a 300, a 500, or whatever, what percentage of your portfolio are just, you don't even hear a peep? It's like they're good, they pay, you don't have to worry about them. We even hear some dealers say, no news is good news. They're paying, they're doing their thing. What percentage of your your customers, our customers are like that. And then let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum. What percentage of your customers, of our customers, are the ones that are your problem?
Yeah, and I use the phrasing troublemakers. Like, you know,
yeah.
they're the ones that are trying to take advantage. They're really they're dishonest often. They're, you know, trying to, you know, steal or take advantage at every turn, or anybody they come in contact with. So we know those folks are out there. We're not naive about that part. We know there are, you know, quote unquote troublemakers out there. But I asked a question, and Tommy, I think you're still listening in. Like, I would ask everybody who's tuning in this morning to give me a feel for what percentage. We have a poll out there. We didn't bring it up this morning, but we have a poll out there on Facebook that kind of went to this question a while back. But I would just ask our listeners this morning, what percentage of the buy here, pay here customer base that you serve is the percentage that you would put in a troublemaker category?
Yeah.
So let's just throw your percentage on the screen there on your comments.
If
Let
you've
us
got
know
an
what percentage
opportunity. Yeah.
would you say. We've done this before, and the results almost always come out about the same. But let me give everybody a chance to throw in there, like, what's your perspective? What percentage of the customers would you say are, again, my definition of troublemaker, they're trying to take advantage. It's their intention not to pay for the car. They are, you know, looking to steal from anybody or otherwise take advantage of everybody they come in contact with. So we know those folks are out there. What percentage would folks say, you know, it represents? And you don't have to be a dealer to offer your perspective on this. It's like, just who do we think we're serving in the segment of poor credit? And so it just kind of gives us, you know, some perspective, and the numbers, we'll give a chance for the numbers to come in, but we certainly have our own perspective. And that NABD last year, about this time of year, I guess it was November, in Orlando, I had Tommy Brandis on the panel along with Gordy Tormolen, Kevin Smith out of Kansas. And I asked them on the screen, you know, we did a pie chart and said, tell me, what percentage of your customers would you say are no trouble at all? So my pie chart has three pieces: no trouble at all. And then the other segment was high maintenance. They mean well, they're trying, they just need a lot of hand holding. And so I would say, you know, that's the other piece of the pie. And then the last piece was reserved for troublemakers. Right. So, you know, you can see some answers coming in on that already. We're getting some feedback.
10% or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a few responses there saying 10% or less. And that's been our experience too. You know, those folks are there. We're obviously trying and underwriting to avoid finding ourselves doing business with troublemakers. But then, as I said to Tommy during our town hall last week, I said, you know, it's been my experience too that if we do have a problem car or a problem customer, we're typically going to know in the first 3 months. And so when you've got that situation, obviously you identify that. And if you can't get the customer to straighten up and fly right, as I always say, then you're going to end your business relationship and move on. But that's a small percentage of the customer base. Yet we meet so many dealers, it seems, and whether it's through social media or wherever, we just hear a lot of dealers and or other folks in the industry, you know, kind of using derogatory language to talk about the customer base that they serve. And again, it's kind of that us and them thing that you mentioned.
It really, really, really is. And, you know, if we're looking at if only 10%, 90% of our customers are either zero trouble at all or need a little hand holding, but they're trying their best.
Right.
They're at work and they're doing the stuff and they're trying hard to pay their bills, and they're trying. Tommy, one of the descriptors that I loved it is like, they're survivors. If there's anybody, and it's our buy here, pay here customers are, heck, if you want to learn a few things about how do you stretch a dollar, you know, these are that our customers, these are the people that really understand that.
Right.
And so they're trying to survive. They're trying to live. I love what Tyler said.
Yeah,
I'm going to pull that back up.
So for those not listening or not familiar, Tyler is a sales manager with a well-established firm in, you know, a buy here, pay here group in West Texas. Their dealer principal was just named National Quality Dealer of the Year. So that tells you some idea what kind of organization we're talking about. And Tyler's perspective was, go ahead, Michelle.
I love how this is put, because it's just so relevant. This perception is a two-way street. change how you think about your customers, and your customers will change how they think about you as a tote the note place or a dealer, or, some place that they have to that they
Yeah.
are doing business with. Perception is a two-way street. And
Right.
so, one thing that we very consistently with a lot of the people that we talk to, the different dealers, when we're doing coaching visits or discovery visits or whatever, is that there's it's all through corporate, that
Mm-hmm.
a culture, an attitude comes from the top down.
Right.
It doesn't come from the bottom up. I mean, and so if you as a dealer are approaching your customers with, "Hey, I see you. Hey, let's see what we can do. Let's work together and see what we can do to solve this situation.
Right.
Let's see how we might have some things that we can help you.
Mm-hmm.
We're in this together. We're really in here for your success.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see to it that we want to do everything we can to ensure your success." If a dealer has that kind of attitude and that kind of language coming out of their mouths,
Mm-hmm.
and their team is hearing it, and they're encouraging their team to do the same thing. It's like, when Jim said that he was meeting with a dealer, and they use these people, he's like, "No, these are our customers."
Mm-hmm.
If as a dealer, if we can start to train our teams to see them through that
Sure.
lens, that imagine how different your experience is going to be, because I mean, we add to our experience. It's not just, experience isn't happening to us, we create an experience.
Uh-huh.
And so, just because we're in buy here pay here doesn't mean we're going to have this experience of they're troublemakers, they're going to be a problem. No, we get to create something where we can have an experience of we are here to help, we are here to serve, we are here to do what we can to see that you are successful in what it is that with this loan, with our relationship together.
Right. And I think we can all understand, you don't have to be a buy here, pay here specialist or business coach or anything else to know that, in our business, in our day-to-day lives, and in our day-to-day work, that things like attitude matter.
Oh my
Things like
gosh.
body language matter. And so while I might be a dealer and I might be saying to my management team behind closed doors things that I wouldn't say to a customer, in reality, that whole attitude that we bring sort of permeates the whole thing. I mean, how could it not? And so we just have to recognize that, and we can't, Michelle can't sit here on the microphones this morning and we can't make anybody start caring,
Yeah.
about a group of people, or, maybe change attitudes about. We're just simply saying that, and I've said to dealers in the past, look, if you don't genuinely care about the customer and you don't really are looking to be an asset to your community, then maybe this business isn't really the right one for you.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody out there contemplating, but I would say that, like, I would say, we feel like this is not going to be a great experience for you. Like, energetically, if it's an us versus them kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
then this really will not be probably a great experience for you in buy here, pay here. Whereas if you step in and you come into with the attitude that I'm going to be an asset in my community, we're going to provide services and solution. Am I going to make a living at it? Absolutely. But when you come community first instead of profit first, then
Mm-hmm.
the profit tends to come. And that's sort of the attitude that, we would recommend. So I want to pause for a minute and just ask our listeners if you would get some descriptive words in there that, with your own view of your customer base and what you see. We know Tommy's used the word survivors in the past. What other words can we come up with to think about how would you describe the customer base that we serve in buy here, pay here? And, I know Michelle and I have some words. I've heard some in particular that come around pretty routinely, but I don't want to, slant that. I want to have our listeners kind of chime in. So if you have some words that you can think of that you would use to describe the customer base that we serve in buy here, pay here, how would you describe them? And we'll share a few before we wrap up here. But yeah, I think it's just helpful to think about who are the folks that make up our customer base. These are the working folks in our community for the most part. Whether it's the wait staff at the local restaurant that you talked about, it can be restaurant managers, it could be a truck driver. Last night I had an interesting exchange, especially I see this with young people as we travel. I kind of make a point to make eye contact with everybody. And I just see that, um, one of the things I always try to do, and Michelle talked about, whether walking down the hallway somewhere, or if I step up to the cashier to, pay for my candy bar, because I'm always getting a candy bar, then, do
That's a whole nother show.
Anyway. Yeah, that's right. It's a different topic. I think it's like, I'm always watching for interaction. Like, people who know me know I'm the person who, talks on the elevator. And Tommy, while we were in Pennsylvania, told some stories about how people are going to look at you funny in some certain parts of the country. You start talking and speaking up to people in the elevator, but I'm just going to have to be weird. I'm just going to have to be weird.
For me though, because we do that, it's kind of an exercise, and this is actually part of what a takeaway that I'm hoping that y'all take is that it's engage. Yeah. Engage with the people around you. Engage with, those of us who are on the road an awful lot. We deal with the front counter. We deal with the housekeeping staff. We deal with and engage with them. How are you today? Engage with them and see them and make eye contact and be a light in their day.
Yeah. And I'm reminded as we talk about this, it kind of ties back to a topic we took on months ago, which was this thing of, do we ask our customers when they're making a payment at the register or by phone, do we ask them how's their car doing? It's like, why are we so afraid to engage in conversation? We're just chatting with people. We're finding out how things are going. In our case, with a buy here, pay here customer arrangement, we're, what connects us is the car and their experience with the car. And so we're just trying to, try to help people understand that it's something that if we engage and we have dialogue, we can show that we truly care about the customer. It doesn't mean you always have to give them exactly what they're asking for, but we need to care and offer solutions and obviously that whole thing about empathy is all part of what we talk about with the White Hat Way. And so, yeah, I see Sergio chimed in about, good people who've just made mistakes. And sometimes, don't get me started on credit scores. So we don't have time to talk about that this morning. But it's like, all credit scoring system to me is a disaster. But the thing about that is, like, you see people who have, sometimes, Sergio, I would say sometimes it's not really a mistake. It's like circumstances that were far beyond their control. Sometimes
we've seen like a divorce, we've seen medical bills,
major health stuff. It's just like, it's not always a mistake. It's like, there are things that will cause people to get into a difficult credit place. And so it's just like, there are things that we just have to recognize that, this is the customer that we serve in our buy here, pay here segment. And our attitude, as Tyler says, it's that if we bring a certain attitude to them, then it's more likely that they will reciprocate and see us through a similar lens. But we just have to first engage and somehow show, it's one thing to say it,
a kindness.
But you have to show it. Like it's one thing to say it in your advertising. It's another thing to look people in the eye and speak to them and ask them questions as though you truly care about their experience.
Absolutely. Right? And if people feel if people feel like they matter to you, and you've listened to them, you've been respectful, you've been kind, you've been empathetic, that when you have to have the hard conversations, that conversation can come from that place of kindness and empathy and you've created some level of equity.
Right.
We speak in terms frequently of little things that we do create drops in the lamp of equity, of that you can make withdrawals from. And I know, like, when we've talked to Tommy's, their team has done such a great job with creating equity with their customers, with the people that they work with, that, when something happens that they have to do a repo or whatever, the way that Tommy approaches this, dude, why'd you make me repo you?
Right.
You could have just come and talked to, that you could have come and talked to me.
Sure.
We could have done this. Imagine that kind of conversation with someone who's like, you repoed me. It's like, well, you didn't make your payment. Tough
Right.
luck,
Right.
see if you can get another car somewhere else. But having the conversation is like, man, I didn't want to have to,
Right.
but we have an understanding.
Yeah.
And it's, I need to be able to hold you to that understanding. So, why'd you make me repo you? Can we get you back on track? That kind of a conversation is it's a totally different flavor. And that customer, even if you can't help them, it's a very different conversation. It's a because I we know in our worlds, in our lives, and in relationships that we have with family, with if we're a leader in an organization, that the more equity you have, the better a difficult conversation can go.
Right. And I got to acknowledge Sergio's comment. I totally get it, Sergio. I think we do see customers sometimes commit to too much, and I've always used the example of if we talk about the last 50 customers that a buy here, pay here dealer finance, and they're all doing just great. You could look through those credit reports, and you would see plenty of credit mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's getting overcommitted. It's often getting overcommitted. Because the dealer sold them on something and made the financing somebody else's problem, and so that happens. But it's like we recognize there are lots of circumstances that put folks in a tough credit spot. I think our point would be that regardless of what put them there, we either care enough to try to provide them solutions, lift them out of it, treat them like human beings along the way. And as a result, they'll be very loyal to us. They'll refer friends and family. Like there's a whole business argument here. But for today, it was more about just the dynamics between you and your customer, you and your employees and your customers. Obviously, all those things are affected by this whole outlook. And so it's really a question of how do we kind of switch that paradigm. And it starts by just recognizing that most of the customers that we serve are those survivors. They are out there struggling, as Shelley says. They are resilient, is the word that I hear often about the customers that we serve in buy here, pay here. What Michelle and I would say just from our travels is they're just like us. They're just in a difficult place in life, and doesn't mean they'll always be there, but currently they're in a tough spot in life.
Absolutely. And so, takeaways, engage with people. I mean, do you, when at your dealership, when you're at the grocery store, I mean, I think that this is like a life lesson. Do you have transactional engagements with people or relationship engagements with people?
Yep.
So when someone comes into your dealership to make a payment, is it a transactional relationship? Watch the way that you can be just an observer. It's like when they come in, is it like, is it transactional? It's like, okay, your name. Okay.
Right.
And even asking something like, how's your day going, can be transactional.
Yeah. It's like,
because
robotic.
It's robotic. If you stop and say, how is your day today, Mr. Jones? You having a good day? Okay.
Right.
Is there anything else that we can help you with? It's so good to see you again.
Yeah.
Love that you come in here every other week and we get to see you and notice that I noticed that you usually come in with your wife. Have her come in and grab some popcorn or something while we're making the payment. We'd love to see her too.
And we've
all
met people, whether it's the greeter or the whatever they call it, the hostess at the restaurant. They either ask you how you are in a way that they don't,
that you feel like really they care.
The they're not really looking for the answer. They're not really looking for a conversation. They're just doing what they're asked to do.
They're doing the script.
So I got to say, our friend Tommy refers to, and I forget who he credits for this, but he said that we're in this car business, CAR, create a relationship business, which it's not CAT, create a. We're not in the cat business. We're not in the cat business. We're in the car business. It's not create a transaction. It's like, let's make sure that we recognize that we're it's about the relationship. It's about the interaction, and really it's just about having some level of respect and empathy for our neighbors, and hopefully we can come to this business with that sort of outlook. And there's nothing that we've talked about here that suggests you're not going to be profitable and that you're not going to earn a good margin for the risk that you're taking. There's nothing that we're suggesting there. It's just that in the course of doing that, we think there's an argument to be made. You're going to be more successful and more sustainable as a company when you are that asset in your community. When you're coming again, if we're coming community first and profit second, then we think the profit takes care of itself. And of course that's, more the straight line side of the business. But anyway, I don't know that I've got anything else for today.
And I just think, the big takeaway, I don't care if you're a vendor or one of the dealers or whatever, is start making it part of your practice. That I know that Bill Elizondo is really, really great at this, using someone's name, looking him in the eye, asking them a question, not just being impolite, but ask them a question and wait for an answer.
Sure.
And treat it's like, let's move forward with all of these little engagements are relationship building, regardless of whether or not it's in the line at the grocery store or someone that's coming in to make a payment.
Right. Yep.
It's relationships.
Yeah. It's all about creating interaction with folks, and we end up building our business. We're not doing it to build our business, but we end up building our business as we do it. So,
all right. Well, we've taken way too much of your time.
Yeah, we got to
today.
move
Happy
on.
Monday.
We got a client stop today, so thanks for everyone for joining us.
Yep, great way to start your week. Let's have a great week of just engaging with people.
Yep.
And
have a good one.
All right, we'll talk to y'all later.